Do not be rich. Do not try to be rich, but try to be a wealthy.
I was riding around in the V12 with the racks in the middle. Had to pray to Almighty God, they let my dog out the kennel. When you get it straight up by the mud, you can't.
Hey, welcome back for the another episode of the HB Daily, and I'm your host, Babur Hassan Baif, aka the HB in the house. So in today's episode, I think the topic that I'm gonna deliver you right now, I think most of you really familiar with this, right? The more I use the social media, I more experience the content that goes by, like tips to make more money, right? Or the fast money that you can make online. I'm like, what is this thing? Because I've seen the interactions, right? Interaction of the post, the engagement rate. I'm like, they got a lot of engagement rate, and I think most of the people fall into this trap. Because right now, I get it, because we're all human beings, we understand each other, right? So I get it. So it's pandemic still, right? And people are really eager to make as much money as they can during this period of time, right? But I think if you look at the big picture, right? I'm talking about big picture. I'm not talking about big deal, right? So the things that they're teaching you right now, it's not the kind of thing to me. I'm not into it because my relatives, okay, my relatives ask me the question, so many questions. The son of my own, the other day asked me the question, look, bro, he's like, look, bro, there are the ways, you can make money through the social media account, or there are the things that you can bet your money on, and once the odds are higher to make money, you can make money, you can earn your money. And he's like, I'm doing it. I'm like, okay, what is the thing? I know what is into it, okay? I know what the conversation is gonna end up on. I really know it because I really understood this message before the journey, because every entrepreneur, every truly entrepreneur mindset, right? They really into this big picture. They're not thinking about thousands of dollars, right? They're not thinking about tens of thousands of dollars of money. They're not even thinking about millions of dollars. They're thinking about 10 million, the big 100 million, right? So they're in the big picture. They're not looking at the tiniest little things. I'm like, tiny little things is making money off social media, making money out of people, right? They're not into it. True entrepreneur people, they're into their business, right? They mind their own business. They're not into making money through the social media, because those people that I'm talking about who are looking at the big picture, they're pros, okay? They're the experts. But those people are just influencers, right? They cannot make money by looking at the big picture, but they can make money out of people, out of through the social media account, like Instagram, whatever, TikTok, Facebook, whatever it can be, right? You name it. So my brother asked me the question, so why are you not making? So this is way. I'm like, okay, so what is the consequence? What is the end of this goal, let's say? And he's like, okay, you make an amount of money. I'm like, okay, and is it really worth spending your time on? He's like, yes. What do you mean, yes? So tell me an amount of number of time, an amount of hours of time, okay, that you spent to make that money, okay? And tell me the something that after you spend this thing, right, how would be the reaction of your followers, the people that are subscribed to you, right? If you're making money through the social media platforms. And they're like this. I'm like, they're not really into it. The people that you follow, I'm like, the people that follows you through the social media account, they're into one thing, because you're giving them context, okay? They're feeding them with their education, or you're entertaining them. to those things. If you're entertaining them, right? If you give something educational, they don't like it. They don't like it. Let's say I'm giving you I'm not giving you entertainment. I'm giving you education, right? So I'm telling the things that has happened in my life. Okay, I'm talking about my journey. Okay, so how I started, how it's going, and how it will be likely to end. I'm talking about my journey. Okay, it's all about the journey. So if I look at the big picture, the people in the right now, the people that are driving the fancy cars or wearing this kind of $2,000 outfits, probably they might not be 2,000, but kind of expensive, right? Because I see a lot of people, a lot of kids that are following those influencers on the TikTok, on the Instagram, right? These are the two biggest platforms that are going viral right now. The kids are following them. I'm like, what are you following them? Because the son of my aunt the other day, yes, he's telling me, he's making an amount of money, he's doing this, he's doing that. I'm like, can you sum up his future in the next 10 years? I'm like, he's making, a month, he's making a couple $1,000. He's making 2,000, let's say 3,000, 5,000, let's say he's making $5,000. Okay, $5,000. Perhaps I'm talking about in Uzbekistan, in our country. I'm not talking about international thing. I'm talking about national thing, okay? Let's say 3,000. Max 5,000. Okay? In 1 year, it's going to be 60 grand. But for the person that is making 60 grand in a year, it's a huge amount of money. I bet it's a huge amount of money. And the people who graduated from the high top schools in Uzbekistan, they're not even making that money in Uzbekistan. But influencers, the people that are posting, that are creating content, they're doing it. They're really doing it, okay? So I'm like, 60 grand is a huge money. I'm like, let's say, you're talking about 60 grand, right? And he's like, yes, I'm talking about 60. Let's say he's making 30 grand. Is it okay? I'm like, yeah, it's super, It's a big money. I'm like, okay, so can you compare $30,000 to $300,000? I'm like, yes. Let's say he's making $30,000 right now, right? In a year. And he's like, yes, he's making. And I want you to think in that way. So he's making 30 grand a year. Let's say he's gonna make a $300,000 the next 10 years. Every year, right? 300. And he's like, yes, it could be. Sorry. And I'm like, okay, so can you please compare $300,000 and $300 million? And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, what do you mean what I'm talking about? They're not looking at the big picture. Okay? The mindset of a successful people is looking at the big picture, okay? They look at the big picture, but those kids are not. They're doing what's trendy right now. But really, a true person who is into his own craft, who is into his own skills, do not jump on what's hot right now, like most of the people are doing on a TikTok, on Instagram. They stay the same, okay? That's the thing that I'm just talking about, okay? So being rich and being wealthy is two different things. And that time, I taught the son of my aunt like a big lesson. He's like, you're right. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm right? He's like, you're right. This is $300 million is a huge amount of money. I'm like, yes, it's a huge amount of money, but you cannot just think about it right now because you don't have it. You don't have it even a million, right? Because I don't have a million. You don't know what it feels like to get that, to have that money. But if you are thinking about in terms of rich and being wealthy, These are the two different terms. I've seen a lot of people that are rich through the social media, making money through the social media, right? But I know in other types of people who are wealthy by making investments. They do not rely on social media. Social media is just a small, tiny part of it. They just help to generate that money, okay? They really help. Those tiny little things, they really help. The people are making $300,000 through the social media, and they be rich, I know. But the people that are making a $300 million in a year, I'm talking about big picture again, big picture. Being rich and being wealthy, that are two different things. You know what? You can be rich. I can tell you this. You can be rich, but you may not be wealthy. Because we know that, as I mentioned in previous videos, right? So the NFL players and NBA players, the ball players, right? It's experience in the history of this NFL, NBA games that it is experience again. So the people who make tens of millions of dollars, they go broke after a certain period of time once they retire from their game. It's experience, it's the fact. Like 50% of the NBA players, once they broke, I think it's 30 something percent of the NBA players go broke when they retire their game because they rely on one source of income. At that point in time, while they're playing a ball, they're rich, they're not wealthy. Okay? And again, NFL players, they're doing also the same thing. I think 60 something percent of the people of NFL players, they go broke once they retire because they think they got this tens of millions of dollars, but they don't know what it really means, the tens of millions of dollars. Okay, so it's a huge difference. It's a huge difference. You can make $100,000 or you can make $100 million, and it's your choice again. Do not compare their lifestyle and your lifestyle. Okay, do not compare, because if you're gonna compare the lifestyle of influencers right now who are making a reasonable amount of money, who can buy their dream car, who can afford for their branded outfits, they can do it because they got money right now. But in 10 years, it's gonna be too much hard for them because again, it's competition. You know what? And by the way, I'm not trying to judge any social media account. No, I'm not trying to judge, okay, the people who are making money through the social media account. I'm like, it's not the point. If you rely on making just the money through the social media account, you're not looking at big picture. You can make a lot of money. Let me tell you another story. Recently, I watched a video from M Factor. It's a very popular entrepreneurial, educative platform for users, for the population of Uzbekistan, in Uzbek language, I think. So once he told for the audience, like, through the journey where from zero subscription to 100,000, I think 100,000 subscription, right? So we made $2.5 grand. It is right. They made a $2.5 grand in a year through the social media, through the YouTube, right? But if you look at what they have achieved through that period of time, it is huge. They got brand awareness right now. In fact, everybody knows in Uzbekistan. Not everybody, most of the people know what it's really about. I think it's a number one educative platform about business, about lifestyle, right? Number one platform is Uzbekistan in Uzbek language. I don't know what is English language, right? I don't know what's number one in English language, but the message is this. If you think that you're gonna make money through the social media account, you got broke mentality, you got broke mindset. You're not thinking about big things, okay? You're not looking at big picture. I want you to tell you this. At the end of the video, I want you to tell you this, okay? So, I don't want you to be rich. I do not want you to be rich. Because you can be rich and you can go broke. It's so easy to go from rich to broke. It's so easy to go from millionaire, from multimillionaire, to go broke. Have nothing, right? It's so easy because it's all the experience. It's a true fact. But what is really difficult is from wealthy to going broke. It's too much hard. It's harder than you think. It's really harder than you think. So I don't want you to be offended by this. All I want to tell you is, okay, be blessed. Do not be rich. Do not try to be rich, but try to be a wealthy. I hope I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
It was dark clouds on us, but that was perfect for us. We know you always crash and burn, but it was working for us.